Coming up next on Lakeshore Focus, we will be spending time with a man who has served in so many significant roles of leadership in our region. Stay with us for a conversation on the life and times of Leigh Morris.
Programming is supported by NIPSCO. Today's young minds are constantly reimagining what our world will be like tomorrow. That's why NIPSCO is upgrading its infrastructure now, so we're ready for whatever comes next. More information at nipsco.com/future.
Welcome again to Lakeshore Focus, a weekly show highlighting the key issues, important events, and interesting people in our region. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick. Our guest today has served as the CEO of LaPorte Hospital, Mayor of LaPorte, Indiana, Chair of the Regional Development Authority, Head of the Indiana Tollway, and Interim President of the Legacy Foundation and South Shore Leadership Center. Let's welcome Leigh Morris. I think I could have added a whole bunch more roles for you, and I just gave you career roles since I've known you. So that doesn't include anything you've been, all these other volunteer things you've done.
Well, we don't have time for that on the show, Keith.
So I thought it was appropriate to call the show The Life and Times of Leigh Morris, because you've really had a very full life of all kinds of interesting things.
Well, thank you. I have had some wonderful opportunities. I've gotten to do some really interesting things, but I'm not done yet.
Well, I know you're not, and that's what I love about you. What did you do before LaPorte Hospital?
Before LaPorte Hospital, I was in manufacturing for about 10 years with Borg-Warner Corporation and International Harvester. And then I went on with International Harvester at their corporate headquarters. I headed up college recruiting for the company for about 3 years before I went back to graduate school in my mid-30s.
See, I never knew that early part of your career, because you were at the hospital how long?
21 years at LaPorte Hospital, another 7 years in Huntington, and then another year at Columbus Regional Hospital in Wisconsin.
Man, you have been all over the place. How have you managed to, you've like kind of dipped your toes into just about every area, government, healthcare, manufacturing. I mean, why? Most people don't do that. Why have you?
I guess I've just had the opportunities to do it, and there's so much commonality between what you do in business and industry and what you do in healthcare and what you do in government. It's basically working with people, finding ways to bring people together to accomplish things that are going to be important to the organization or the region or the state or whatever group you're working with. So it's that ability to bring people together and get things done.
And you are good at doing that. If I could ask you this criteria for all the jobs you ever had, which was the most fun to do? The most fun?
Oh, the most fun was being the CEO of the hospital.
Okay.
Without any question. Because
why was that the most fun?
Most fun because, number one, what you're doing really has a positive impact on the community, on the people you serve. You're making a positive difference if you do things right in a hospital. And the other thing is, a hospital is unique in that it cannot function disparately. The only way a hospital can function is if you bring people and the organization together. And that's what I love to do.
Is it a bad assumption to think that maybe being the mayor or one of the government positions was the most unfun thing, if that's such a word?
No, really being the mayor is frustrating in many ways because there's so many things that need to be done. And the public government is well behind business and industry in bringing newer concepts of leadership and governance to bear. And the problems of a local city, the mayor is the focal point of that city. The mayor is accountable for what happens within that city. But so much of what the mayor needs to be able to do is controlled by Indianapolis. We say in Indiana we have home rule. We don't have home rule at all. And so that's very frustrating when you see that there are really important needs that ought to be met, and the strings are pulled so tightly in Indianapolis that you don't have the opportunity to do it. That's frustrating. But it's really exciting to be able to say on behalf of the 22,000 people that I'm serving in LaPorte, we're working together to accomplish things to make this a better place for everybody. That's exciting.
I could actually see the frustration in your face when you talked about that. You kind of showed that like you were reliving the moment,
Yeah.
maybe of thinking back to that time of being mayor. So in all these years that you've been in leadership roles, and how come you're always in the leadership role?
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe the good Lord gave me a few talents that maybe have come to bear. But I've been able to learn about leadership. I had no idea that I could be a leader when I was in my early years. And I think that being given the opportunities to lead and hone some leadership skills has been very helpful to me. And they've been able to transfer from one thing to another. So I guess that's the way it worked.
So could you describe, in your leadership roles, there's different ways people become leaders. How often do you think you were more the person who said, I'll do that, I'll volunteer to do it? And how many times was it you got tapped on the shoulder and said, would you do it?
Well, in the early years, it was more volunteering. I'll do that. In later years, when I've had the pattern of being engaged and involved and doing things, I've been tapped on the shoulder sometimes, which is always very nice to have happen.
So who tapped you on the shoulder that really surprised you?
Oh, when Governor Daniels gave me the opportunity to become the chairman of the board of the Regional Development Authority in Northwest Indiana, which I think is just an absolutely fantastic opportunity for this region. I really hadn't expected that to happen, but he asked me to do that, and he asked me then also to take on responsibilities for the Indiana Toll Road after the leasing occurred, to help make sure that lease pattern worked for the benefit of the people of Indiana. That was a surprise to me, but I appreciated it and I learned from it, and hopefully we accomplished some good things.
Have you ever said no?
Yes, I have.
See,
I have. And
it was a yes to the no.
now that I'm 81 years old, I think I've got the right to say no if I really don't want to do something. Mm-hmm. So if it's something that's not really going to create good, not really going to make a positive difference, I've come to the point that I want to say no to those things. And I don't want to just be involved for the sake of being involved. If I can't make a positive difference, I really don't want to do it.
You're like talking about the end of my show, where I always say make a positive difference in the world. You're a great example of that. So in these yeses that you have, I guess, coming along, is there another yes that's coming up for you here in the future?
Well, time will tell. I didn't look for the last several opportunities that I have been given, and I'm not going to be looking this time. If it comes to me and it's something that will make a positive difference, where I can engage and do important things, I probably will say yes again, as long as I have the energy and the good health to be able to do it.
So you're probably one of the most positive people I know. I mean, where did this positivity come from for you? It's just, you're more than the glass is half full. It's like almost brimming over, it seems like. Where'd that come from for you?
Well, yeah, I've come to realize that you really don't accomplish very much if you've got a negative outlook. And I've looked at people who everything is wrong, and they're some of the most unhappy people I know.
When did you learn that, though?
Oh gosh, it would be hard for me to go back and point to the time where that was an aha. I think it just came about as I observed other people and observed the fact that if you are looking for the positive things, you'll usually find them. And then your job is to optimize those positive things. Make sure that you're doing the right things to cause those things to continue to be positive. And you're also willing to look for the things that aren't positive and do something about them.
So that was really, for some people, that's kind of a natural process. They just kind of like see the world in a very positive way. Mm-hmm. You sound like you had to kind of learn that, or look around and see, these are negative people and these are positive people. Which do I want to be?
Yeah.
And you made a decision based on, so can you think back to even a time where you saw somebody who was like, man, I do not want to be like that person. You don't have to name them. Just, it's like, man, I hope, shoot me if I ever get to a point like that.
Yes, I have seen those folks.
So,
again, they're some of the most unhappy folks I know, and they sell themselves short when they do that. Because if you're always negative, if you're always looking for the things that are not good and concentrating on those and thinking about those and dwelling on them, you miss so many wonderful opportunities. And life's too short to do that.
You are one of the most upbeat people about this region. Mm-hmm. I love for you to talk to groups because they always go, oh my gosh, he's just such a great, I wouldn't call you a cheerleader because you just kind of really see opportunities. and you promote those opportunities. Why is that?
Well, if you look around and you see that there are really positive things about the region, why wouldn't you become positive about it overall? And I just feel that Northwest Indiana is in a terrific position it's already a good place to live and work and do business, but we've got the opportunity to make it so much better. And, again, I don't think you can ignore things that are not good. And we've got some problems in Northwest Indiana. I really am a great fan of the quality of life indicators that the Quality of Life Council created back in 2000, and now one region is continuing. Every 4 years, looking at 10 factors that measure the quality of life in Northwest Indiana.
There's another thing you chaired for a while,
yes,
right?
I did. And when you look at those, you could concentrate on the negative and say, gosh, this is a bad place. It isn't a bad place. It's a wonderful place. And that quality of life indicators then simply points out to us where we've got opportunities to do something to make it even better.
So I won't call it a problem or a weakness. I'll just say, what do you think is our greatest challenge in this region? The greatest challenge in this region, I believe, is to recognize our opportunities for the future. There's so much, still so much concentrating on the way it used to be. And I want it to be like it used to be. And people point out sometimes the used to be is not that great. That's right. It's what your memory remembers. Exactly. And I think realizing that where we are situated geographically, the people that are here, the transportation assets we have, the environmental assets we have, and the list is long, make it a wonderful place. Now, concentrate on keeping those things positive and work on eliminating the negative over here. I always like that old World War II song. You got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. I think that was kind of a dance tune, wasn't it, back at the time? Yeah, could be. So if I could give you unlimited resources and say, Leigh, you can capitalize on one opportunity, you got to flood all the resources that's been handed to you, what would the one opportunity be that you would just pour into? I would help work on driving down poverty levels in our region. Because when we do that, we then level the playing field. We make sure this is not only a great region for the people at the top of the economic heap, it's a great region for everybody. And when you do that, you'll deal with education, you'll deal with job opportunities, you'll deal with housing, you'll deal with all the factors that detract from those positive things about our region. Our poverty level is much too high. It's 18% poverty level in Lake County. LaPorte County is now at that same level. Porter County is 14%. And it's been growing for us. It's been growing. Yeah, and it's way above, not way above, but it's definitely above a national and state average, right? And when you look at the fact that we're well above state levels in poverty in these two counties in particular, if you look at the fact that a percentage of our school students that are on free and reduced lunch, that's an indication of poverty. That poverty situation detracts from the effectiveness of our public education. And public education is so important to us. And we've got some great public education in Northwest Indiana. We've got some that's not so good, but we'll get there. If we've done it beautifully here, we can do it beautifully here too. Sometimes the difference is the leadership. There again is that glass half full thing. You're like filling it up again, which I enjoy about you. You've also been a really big proponent of connecting us to the Chicagoland region. You've always said, we are part of Chicago. You've been beating that drum a long time. Why is that so important? Well, because it's such a huge opportunity. When you realize that we are a part of this mega economic region, and I was given the opportunity to be a part of a major effort organized by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, looking at the 21 counties of Northwest Indiana, Northeast Illinois, Southwest Wisconsin as an economic region. And the OECD, which is an internationally famous organization, concluded this is a major economic region, but you're not acting like it. You're siloed. You're not really capitalizing on the fact that these 21 counties make up such a vibrant region. We're connected to it. Our transportation systems are connected to it. And I'm so excited about the improvements that we're going to be making in the South Shore.
the double tracking of the South Shore, the extension of it. Those are wonderful because that will give us an opportunity to take more advantage of being a part of the mega Chicagoland area. What I'm really concerned about is that people think, well, that's great because they'll be able to take good jobs in Chicago and commute. That's wonderful. That will contribute to our economy. But I want equal emphasis on the fact that we want to create those better jobs right here in Northwest Indiana as well.
You know, it's interesting because people always see that train flowing in. It'd be interesting for us to think a little differently and say, why can't you live in Hammond and take the train out to Michigan City and work, right?
Certainly can.
So it'd be a very nice commute. It'd be a reverse of everybody else, so the train would be less full at those times. So there's another opportunity.
Absolutely is, yes.
Sometimes people will look at someone like you and say, well, there's so much to learn from one who's accomplished as much as you have and been in all the leadership roles. Do you ever look around and see somebody who's, you know, way younger than you or is out there, and what do you learn from the younger generation or the younger leaders?
You know, I teach at Valparaiso University in the graduate program in health sciences, and being able to associate with some of the students in those programs has been great. And I think many of them are unfettered by some of the biases and prejudices that were a part of my generation. They're seeing the world as a much more open and accepting area than when I was their age.
So when you see that, how does that change how you think? Because I know I feel that same way sometimes. Those are hard to get rid of, those things you learn that you think, boy, that is just terrible. I keep thinking these things that I was taught. When you see that, how does it change you?
Gives me faith for the future. And Keith, you know, when I've had the great opportunity, thanks to you in many respects, to speak to the SLICE program that the South Shore Leadership Center provides, and I go away from that session every time with so much more confidence for the future, because those kids are so wonderful. Their communication skills, their attitudes, their willingness to relate, they're just absolutely fantastic characteristics.
I don't know if I told you this, but when we first invited you to come and speak to the students, we had this debate about, do we invite an older leader to come in here? Will the kids be turned off by this? Will they be inspired by it? Oh my gosh, you rocked the house. They loved you. They just, I think, what do you think they saw in you that was so appealing?
Well, maybe they saw that a grandfather can still be engaged and still have ideas and still be a vital part of a region. And I think knowing, I came from nothing, and I've been able to accomplish some things and build some things, and anybody can. That's one of the great things about this country. It's still there. There's some inhibitions to it nowadays that I think we can work on overcoming, but those opportunities are still there. And what we really try to emphasize in SLICE and in LNI as well is that everybody can be a leader. Everybody can be a leader. Not everybody will lead in the same way or in the same kinds of situations, but those leadership skills are there in everybody, and they can make a positive difference. Every one of them.
Maybe I stole that from you, my ending of the show, but I've been using it a long time. Maybe you stole it from me.
I could be.
We'll have to figure this out. You are not shy about sharing your age. I think you're really kind of proud of this 81 years. And you were speaking one time to a group, and I remarked to one of the participants there, I said, man, I hope I have that kind of energy and passion when I'm that age. And that person said to me, he said, I wish I had it now. And I think this person was in their 40s. Where does that passion and that energy come from for you?
Oh, I think in being engaged, just the fact that you are engaged and you're with people and you're interacting with people and you're doing things that are maybe making a positive difference. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you active and knowing that you can still do things. The chronological age, I think, is meaningless.
So if you think back, has there ever been a regret for you? Like, man, there's particularly a guy who really focuses on opportunities. Is there an opportunity you missed one time?
Sure. I have this very unfortunate trait of, if I can't do something well, I won't do it. I'll ignore it. I'll avoid it. And I've missed some great opportunities as a result of that. I could have learned, I could have accomplished more, I think, had I been willing to engage in things that maybe I wasn't so good at.
Can you think of one that you just like?
Yeah, I should have been an athlete. And I think I would have learned more earlier about teamwork concepts from having been more engaged in athletics. But I wasn't very well coordinated, and I couldn't do the things that the other people were doing. So if I couldn't do it well,
You had size.
I had the size, yeah. I could have been in football and basketball both, but I missed that opportunity.
But that didn't work.
No.
So what do you think this region needs to do to move itself forward?
I think this region needs to engage more people in leadership. I think the thing that I believe we're in the shortest supply in Northwest Indiana is people who are willing to engage in leadership in whatever field that we're talking about. In public service, good people willing to run for political office and be a part of a local government in this region. Really important.
But you're talking about leadership that really steps up,
Yes.
not just as good leadership, but you're talking about great leadership.
Absolutely.
And we need more of that.
Our not-for-profit organizations, I believe, are starved for good board members that want to be engaged and make a positive difference. So I believe it's leadership that's important. We've got to find a way of getting business and industry more engaged in regional leadership as well. You know, back in the old days, the way it used to be, United States Steel, BP, Inland Steel, and so on, all their officials were really engaged in community leadership, made a huge difference in this region. Well, organizations have changed now, so we've got to find new ways of getting the private sector engaged in regional leadership so that we're leading this region in a way that prospers business as well as creating that very desirable place for everybody else to live and work.
You always love to learn and try new things. So what's on the brink of happening for you, or something you'd like to do at this point? If you just said, hey, I'm going to jump into this maybe.
I guess what I would like to do is if there's an organization around that has an important role to play and is having difficulty achieving its mission, I'd like to help it achieve its mission. I'd like to do that.
You've also got this great voice. I don't know, can you do something with this voice?
Well, I've been told that my face would have a future in radio. People have told me, but I don't know.
But the voice is a good one. Have you always had this voice?
Probably so. Probably so. I've done a lot of public speaking, and of course, being in the hospital and being mayor, you have to do a lot of that. So
you didn't have to work at finding your voice then.
No,
it was always there.
No, I think it's pretty well always been there. Yeah.
So I really appreciate having you on the show. It's been terrific. This has been an interesting life and times of Leigh Morris. So, and I'm looking forward to the next things you continue to do all these future years ahead.
Thanks, Keith, and it's great to be your colleague, and I appreciate so much the chance to come and be with you today.
Thank you, Leigh. There are two ways you can look at the world. The first view sees problems, disasters, weaknesses, mistakes. Everything is headed in the wrong direction and will most likely end badly. The second option is to believe that there are solutions, victories, strengths, efforts, and we have opportunities all around us. We have way too many people in the first category and often refer to them as pessimists. I prefer to hang out with the second group, the optimists. It's popular to make fun of the people who take a more positive view. They are called Pollyanna or Sid Sunshine, meaning a personality that sees everything as wonderful, terrific, without a single negative in their view. There is an assumption that reality does not exist for these people. They bury their head. I am talking about optimists who live in a real world but choose to see the positive side. When a mistake is made, these people call it an experiment and gather what is learned for future reference. A weakness is an opportunity to improve. When things go wrong, they analyze, adjust direction, and regroup. These folks find the good in a catastrophe and look at how the community pulled together, the best came out, and inner strengths were discovered. Problems have solutions, challenges are exciting, losses create the foundation for future victories. What I admire Beyond this perspective are people who advocate for others to see it in the same way. They sell the idea of opportunity, learning, and improvements. Their enthusiasm is contagious. Their determination is unrelenting, and their energy seems endless. They drive the process and move groups towards success. You have met one of these people today on our show. He is an excellent example and a great role model for others. We need more like him. They cheer for the underdog and encourage the faltering. They see the best in others and want everyone to rise. Do you know someone like this? If you do, then recognize what they do and appreciate them. Maybe you are this type. If you are, I want to thank you for being a positive force in the world and someone who is making that difference. My closing line in this show will be for you. As always, I want to hear from you. We hope that our show enlightened or inspired you in some way. If you have thoughts and comments about today's broadcast or any other show you may have watched, send them to our email address on the screen. You can also access our past shows from the website. If you missed something on a particular show or would like to watch it again or show it to someone else, you can view it online or even fast forward to a specific spot in the show. That tip may help you out. Be sure and join us again next week for another Lakeshore Focus. Until then, I'm Keith Kirkpatrick saying, make a positive difference in our world today.
Programming is supported by NIPSCO. Today's young minds are constantly reimagining what our world will be like tomorrow. That's why NIPSCO is upgrading its infrastructure now, so we're ready for whatever comes next. More information at nipsco.com/future.